Welcome back to the Boat Cheat. This video looks at a 3-day leg going from Amble to an anchorage near Eyemouth, to an anchorage near Arbroath, and then on to Peterhead. Departure time from Amble is determined by the tidal stream running through the straits at the Farne Islands. The tide gave us a very strong lift up through the Farnes and we made a really good time to our lunch stop. This is the lighthouse on Lindisfarne, and here are a couple of dual shots of Bamber Castle. The sand dunes at Old Law. 2 towers on these sand dunes give part of the transits into the anchorage at Holy Island. Both the transits used to get into this anchorage are lit, so it can be approached at any time of day. From just south of the Ridge East Cardinal Mark, the 2 beacons on the top end of Old Law, one being lit with a sector light, guide you into the Triton starboard hand mark. This view is from the anchorage. We had a technical problem with the camera on the way in, so I couldn't record them. From Triton, a sector lit transit mark is lined up with the belfry of the church to lead you into the anchorage. There's a more prominent building to the left of it, but it's the belfry you need to line up with. Holding is excellent in sand and I'd be happy to stay there overnight. I'd loved visiting Lindisfarne by the causeway, but it was really great being there by boat. After lunch we headed off north-west towards Eyemouth. We had originally planned to go into the harbour, but there was insufficient water because of the state of the tides, and the harbour master advised that rather than anchoring in the roads outside, we'd be better off going to the next bay along, Coldingham Bay. There's nothing better than advice from harbour masters, so that's exactly what we did. The anchorage at Eyemouth is directly in the path of vessels going in and out of the bay, and it's quite rocky and quite small, so I guess it would be less restful, but Coldingham Bay is a beautiful anchorage. Holding was excellent and we had a very, very pleasant night there.
Good morning, good morning. A little bit of a hysterical good morning this morning because I'm really tired, which is why I've got my sunglasses on because I look awful. Anyway, I've got an update for you this morning. We've just left our anchorage, which is over there. We woke up and we've got a neighbour. Someone arrived during the night. And the reason that I'm so tired this morning is that I don't always sleep well at anchor when I know there are rocks either side of us for some reason. Got a husband who just lies there and snores and he's fine with it all. But yeah, I think it just makes me sleep quite lightly. We were fine. We woke up this morning, the boat hadn't moved an inch. All our transits were absolutely fine. The alarm didn't go off. But I do have a couple of incidents to tell you about. First of all, our iPad has failed, which is major news. I mean, it's not the end of the world because we're going to have to go back to using paper charts and old-fashioned stuff like that. But it does make life really difficult for us, the royal us. It takes longer and it's just a bit more involved. We're hoping that we can get it sorted when we next get into port, but we'll see. Anyway, one of the consequences of the iPad failing last night was that we had a call from the Coast Guard. So I just wanted to talk to you about how amazing it is living in the UK and having these fantastic services. When we first started sailing, the system that was in place in terms of safety on long passages was that you would have to call up on the radio channel 16 and speak to the Coast Guard, and you'd have to give them all your information, basically the boat, all the boat details, where you were going, how many passengers on board, what time you expected to be there, and then when you got the other end you'd have to radio them back and let them know that you were there safely and that no one needed to come out and rescue you, which was all very well, but it did take up a lot of manpower and unnecessary Also, there were a couple of times when we forgot to do it, like, quick, ring the Coast Guard. But since the introduction of the DSC radio, which is the digital one, that's now no longer necessary. There's a fantastic app that we've got that was organised by, oh, he's looking at me, I think I've said something wrong. What?
DSC's the bit in between the app, it's nothing to do with DSC.
No. Oh, there was nothing to, it doesn't matter, they don't care about that. Such a pedant, honestly. And there's me trying to be all tech savvy and impress my listeners. Don't listen to him, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Anyway, there's this amazing app called Safe Tracks, which was designed, is that the word? Introduced by the Coast Guard and the RYA, the Royal Yachting Association, which is basically exactly the same thing, but you do it on an app. So you put in all your details and you let them know where you're going, and when you get there you say, I'm here safely, and there's no manpower involved. You just do it on this app, which is fantastic. You have designated people, which is hilarious because our two daughters are our designated people, so they get a text every time we leave on a passage to say, the Keens have gone off to X, Y and Z, they're expected to be here at this time. And then we invariably get where we're going, we open the gin, we open the wine, we sit there in the sunshine, not on this trip obviously, but normally, and then we get a phone call or a text from one of the girls going, are you still alive? Are you at the bottom of the sea? Do we need to raise the alarm? Oh crikey, we haven't cancelled Safe Tracks. So because the iPad died last night and because we'd filled in Safe Tracks on the iPad, we couldn't cancel it because we couldn't use that device. So we tried to do it on another device and it didn't seem to work. The girls knew that we were here safely, and so we thought all would be okay. What we didn't realise, which is totally amazing, is that those details had still been sent to the Coast Guard. So just before we went to bed last night, the Coast Guard actually rang one of the mobiles and said, really calm, really lovely, really polite, so amazing. Just, hello, this is the Coast Guard. You haven't closed off your Safe Tracks, just checking that everything's okay. We explained the situation and obviously thanked them very much for their concern and for their time, which is it's just incredible. It's such a service, and so we just wanted to wax lyrical really about the amazing service that we get here in the UK, not only from the Coast Guard but obviously from the RNLI. We are so blessed, and for those members of our family watching who are worried about us, you don't need to, because we might be idiots who forget to close off Safe Tracks and we do ridiculous things, but we've got some really, really talented professional people looking after us. And I hope those aren't famous last words. Anyway, speak to you later.
Arbroath is a pretty obvious next stopping point. Two problems there. One, it's hellishly expensive. That we were prepared to accept, but more importantly, they only open the lock within their manning hours, which means that it never opens before 7:15 and it never closes after 19:45. In our case, that meant we would have had to wait till lunchtime before we could leave Arbroath to go to Peterhead, and we wanted to get north by a given date, and so we had to find somewhere else to go. I phoned Montrose to see if they had space. They don't have space for visiting vessels at the moment, but they did confirm for me that Lunan Bay, which is just south of Montrose, makes a very good anchorage for a small craft.
We're here. We just came across from over there and we found the most beautiful anchorage. So again, that's the Royal We. It really is beautiful, and we're the only people here apart from some big ships over there. We're assuming that that's a large ship anchorage because there are quite a few of them over there. There's a southwesterly wind, which is unbelievable, and it's really warm. The wind actually feels warm, not cold. There's an amazing smell from the rape fields. Absolutely beautiful. I'm itching to get over to that beach over there, but I don't think we're going to have a chance to set up the tender, the dinghy today. I hope you can hear me in that wind. I'll go underneath the spray hood and you can see the lovely sparkly water. And that's our big bay that is all for us. And this is Lunan Bay. I do believe that that little gap over there is the entrance to a river, and there are some ruins above it. And apparently you can find precious stones on the beach. So I might have a bit of a swim. I'm not sure I'll make it to the beach, but I might have a little dip in a minute.
Lunan Bay was a fantastic anchorage, beautiful, easy approach. I didn't find any hazards on the approach, and the shape of the bay meant that it was, depending where you anchored, good for any wind from south-southwest through to north. Holding was excellent in sand, and we had a very comfortable night planning for the next day. As forecast, the wind died away during the evening, and by morning we were completely becalmed and had to motor up to Peterhead. Just a couple of notes on the way. Aberdeen's Port Authority zone is 2 miles off the shore, so you need to either avoid it or give them a call for permission to go through. And the same goes for Peterhead. As you approach Peterhead, you need to give them a call to get permission to enter. Arrangements in Peterhead were excellent. We were cleared to go to the Princess Royal jetty to pick up fuel and then go to the pontoon. I was a bit concerned because the Princess Royal jetty is a commercial dock, but they have an enormous inflatable fender which you moor alongside. As you approach, they throw you down a line for your bow and your stern. You tie up, then they throw you a line with the fuel nozzle on it, and while you're fueling, they give you your assigned berth in the marina. We had a restful and calm night stop. It's not somewhere I'd visit out of choice because there's nothing nearby, but I did manage to get gas cylinders in the nearby garage. Hope you find that useful. As always, don't forget, click like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon. All of these things really help the channel grow. See you again soon.